Oh hi, and welcome to my review of The Ghost Monument. Woo! As always, I have 7 things. I could do that. That's 7. There we go. 7 things to say about this episode. And first of all, I'm not going to mention the title sequence. Because there's another video for... Shut up. There's another video for that, so sit patiently. The next video to come out will be about the title sequence, and it will follow pretty sharpish. I've actually already recorded it and edited it, and it's actually ready to upload, and I've been sat on it overnight. So, first of all, let's talk about pace. The pace of this episode was not great, if I'm honest. I much preferred the pacing of the first episode. I get the feeling that this series would have benefited from every episode being either an hour long or an hour and 5 minutes long. A lot of the end of last week's was a bit, okay, needs to sort of end now. Okay, definitely needs to end now. So maybe cut the last 5 minutes, have an hour episode instead of 50 minutes, because I feel this episode could have been better off for it. There were times where I felt it was a bit sped up. So, for example, when the robot guard sentry things were coming in with their guns into the shooting range, and they went, get to cover, and then all of a sudden Jodie's got a flipping robot behind the pillar, but they've moved like that towards the robots. It seemed like that. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. It doesn't help to eat dinner during an episode of Doctor Who. You sort of need to pay attention to this series, I feel. And not saying that you didn't have to pay attention to others, but you do definitely miss things if you're not paying attention. And more on that in a minute. Number 2 was the threat. There wasn't any. Or at least, it didn't seem that way for a long old time during this episode. The main part of this episode and the main storyline, you have to admit, is trying to find the TARDIS. Okay? The fact that there are monsters on this planet at all was just secondary, but I feel we didn't really get much time with the wavy bandages things, and I feel we didn't get much time with the robots either. Both of these things could have been extended. We could have had more of them, and yeah, I just feel that was a little bit lacking this week, and I don't think I'm alone in that feeling. So more threat please equals better episodes, thanks. Number 3, the guests. Now I've done a big video about who the guests were, but I'm going to be talking about their characters. I don't know their names, I didn't get attached to them just in case they pegged it, but basically they were there. They didn't need to be there, but they were. I feel that this episode, the whole thing about the race, they just sort of went, okay, so it's a race. The first one gets to leave the planet. The one who doesn't basically dies on this planet and will never be rescued. And I feel as though they just dropped that at a moment's notice. There was no real build-up to it being a race. They were just sort of running around, and then one of them got shot, and then it was like, oh no, come with us. Okay, fine. I'm going to beat you now. Why? Obviously they both want to get off the planet. But it was almost as if it was being forced. I'm going to go and claim my prize now. It's like, okay, you have just basically put a massive middle finger up to this guy who has just saved us all, basically. And on the other side, I didn't like the plot of this one, I'll be honest. I think there was some real issues with this episode. The threat, the guests, characters, they were just sort of there, and it was just a case of getting Jodie and team from point A to point TARDIS. Number 4, the series arc. Now, Chibbers said that there wasn't going to be a series arc. Already we have 2 connected things within episodes. The Stenza, that is Toothy Face Man. The thing between the 2 episodes is basically it was the Stenza who were making these scientists who we never saw do horrible things and make horrible creatures and robots and turn the planet to death. Still very beautiful. I mean, come on. But the Stenza is, I think, going to reoccur again and again, and they're going to be what is basically in place of a series arc. Possibly. The other one, and this is the thing I missed, was something about the Doctor. It was a conversation between the floaty wave bandage and the Doctor about how she had a child lost to time, or oh god, I wasn't paying attention and I missed it completely, and I will need to rewatch this episode at some point. But again, that could be a series arc. We could see something. Apparently, the series is going to be sort of revolving around family, and I think that we might get to see somebody from the Doctor's. I don't know. I just don't know at this point. Let's move on. 5 was visuals. God damn, this was a nice looking episode. Once again, the new cameras, the South Africa shoot, it was all just lovely. 3 suns in the sky, coming up after 2 moons set. The desert landscape with those lovely new cameras were, it was just glorious to look at, and it really was a redeeming feature for this episode, because overall I didn't think it was an overly good episode personally, but it's still good, but it just wasn't up there. Number 6, the TARDIS. Of course it was going to be mentioned in this list. The TARDIS. The TARDIS. Okay. 2 things you need to know. First of all, I've already seen it before the series aired. It was leaked online, and I, as a nosy old person, went, oh, let's have a look then. So it was a bit spoilt for me, which is an up and a down. It's an up because it's odd and alien, and I'm going to keep saying that until this series is done and I am blue in the face, because this series is very alien to a lot of Doctor Who fans. It's so different. It's different for different sake in some cases. And the TARDIS is one of those things. It's very alien. It really does fit. If you came into the world of Doctor Who and you met the Doctor without knowing who he was, you would go, well, you just look like a human. And then you enter this new TARDIS, and it is crystals everywhere and dark lighting and all hexagons everywhere and nothing is touching, and it really does look like an alien spaceship. It really does, which is the upside to it. The downside is, if it's done too dark, you can't see any of it. And I feel like I've seen the TARDIS without seeing the TARDIS so far. We've been in it and we've had scenes in there, but we've not really seen it. Now, on the flip side of that, if you light it up too much, it's too bright. There's too much going on, and it's a bit of a eye pain. So what I want to see is them bring the lighting up just a little bit within the TARDIS, and us getting to see more of it. In Series 10, when Bill entered the TARDIS, we had a big reveal shot of the TARDIS, and the fact that it's bigger on the inside. The same for Matt Smith's series. We didn't get that here. We had quite close-up angles of Jodie and the companions, and then the occasional bit of biscuit and all sorts. Also, if your Doctor likes biscuits, it's got to be a jammy Dodger, right? Or not at all. Just, in fact, no, forget jammy Dodgers, just kill the lot. We don't need biscuits in Doctor Who. Okay? It's a sci-fi, not a flipping culinary show. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. The TARDIS, yes. Lots of things to do, as I've watched a design thing on it, and do go and have a look on the Doctor Who YouTube channel for it, and I'll have it playing down here or something. But it's got lots of bits to do, but no typing. It's all very hands-on, which could be interesting. Bits of it I like. There's a lot of pull switches and levers and all sorts of things. I don't like the biscuit dispenser, obviously, and the spinning TARDIS on the console itself. It's like a fourth wall break. Why would it, if it's going to be there, it needs to be a hologram or something. It doesn't need to be like something you can buy commercially, because that's what it feels like it's going to be. It feels like you're going to go, from the TARDIS itself, get this new spinning TARDIS. Whee! So lastly, my overall thoughts for the episode is 0.7, because I couldn't think of 7 things for this episode. Sorry, I'm failing. I could have stopped at 6, but let's just keep with the theme and go with it. So overall, this episode was a little bit of a letdown, if you ask me. And there was some brilliant visuals, and the TARDIS is very different, and can't decide whether I like it or not. The titles, which I will come on to next video, are a great feature of the episode. It was nice to have them at the very start, so we got more plot time and more time to develop what little time of the episode we had. And something I know I didn't mention in the video that's coming out after this, bit of a break in the timeline of this, but the titles are shorter so that we get more to do in the episode as well, which is good. So that's a plus side for that. But characters, I couldn't tell you their names. Monsters lacking, need more, please. The Stenza were a decent threat last week, and I enjoyed that. And we had 3 on-screen deaths, or as I said, slightly off-screen deaths, and 1 on-screen death. I think that's right. Whereas this week we had nothing. Nobody died. So, you know, I like to see deaths in Doctor Who, and I've said it before, because otherwise it just feels all too mamby-pamby, if that's the phrase, or something like that. Anyway, that's all for this time. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a like. Do subscribe to my channel if you are new. Even if you're not new, subscribe again if you can. I don't think you can. Make a new channel and subscribe. Anyway, tell me what you thought of the episode in the comments below, and I shall see you next time for something a bit more title sequels.